Dela writes, my MVVs, welcome. The way people who are close to you can sometimes betray you. And that is why they say that the closest people to you are those ones that will hit you in a way that you will never, ever, stand up again. Because if not for that, why would somebody like Elder Olamikposi be part of this plot against the Great Lion? Because someone might say, okay, is it not good that they are trying to bring her back in a dark way? They said the Great Lion was very upset. Who is that person that gave you the right to try and summon my wife with dark powers? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you try and summon my wife with dark powers? Who gave you that right? You see one thing, they wanted to show off power. They wanted to humiliate her. They thought the palace could be used like a stage and she would have to bow and dance to their plan. They did not understand what they had, been dealing with. Can you imagine that one day we woke up and we heard that, the jewel has packed her things and she has moved? To a lot of us, it might not mean anything. But, the husband doesn't want that for her. The husband wants them to welcome her back, celebrate her back, restore her dignity and everything. The Ofarende, Shede said he is, minimizing the tradition. And that is why he is saying, look, you see Ofarende, I am going to do it. All they wanted was to humiliate her. See her move her things and start coming back, rushing back, and all of that. They were going to use dark forces to bring her back into the palace. They said the hall went quiet the moment the Great Lion's voice hit the, ratters. It wasn't a whisper, it was a thunderclap with tooth. Who gave you the right to summon my wife with darkness? He demanded, and the sound of those words came through the chatter like a blade. No one moved. They said even the guards were frozen. The kind of silence that follows an earthquake. They said the Great Lion was angry. Like so angry. Was like very, very angry. Who is that person that gave you the audacity, that gave you the right to summon my wife with darkness? Who gave you that right? They said this Elder Olamikposo was standing where he always stood. Like he was just there looking, he didn't know what to say. How dare you? He had come in front of the royal council with explanations, prepared and accusations ready to land. He had believed himself shielded by numbers and tradition and by people who wanted the same thing he did. He had not believed the Great Lion would roar. He had not, he never knew that the man would get this angry. But again, you know that when people behave this way, they are not doing it because they think that, this could go out. For him, he never, ever could have imagined this going out. He never thought that this would go out. They thought that it would, just happen. Who gave you the right? Who is that person that gave you the right, like the audacity to summon my wife? Who is that person? I am here. The woman in question is alive. I am alive. You now pass my back to go and try and summon her. When I told you that anybody who touches her, you thought I was joking. I told you. And you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. Remember? The man came by himself to come and state exactly what happened. And he said no, that he did not summon, the jewel. That what happened was that they had a meeting last week, and they had this discussion, that he was there during the meeting. And they said, the way that, Kabiyesi is taking this thing, it looks like Kabiyesi want them to pay for everything that they have done. Whether it has to do with children, maybe he doesn't even care. That they are going to find a way to solve this their own way. That the only thing, according to him, he said the only thing he did that the gods may be judging him for is that he is the closest person to the great lion. He ought to have had this conversation with the great lion. What that would have been that he is working in the interest of the great lion. That he was there when they came up with a plan on what they were going to do, how they intended to get the jewel back into the palace, that he was there. That the only thing that he knows that he is guilty for was not speaking to the great lion about it. Yes, I came before this council and I told all of you that my wife has been highly fortified. When I said it, I did not mince word. And I said, anyone who touches her buys. You think I was joking. You think it's business as usual. Or you think that I do not know that some of the things that my wives did, they did not do alone. They did with all of you. Like 70% of those of you seated here. You think I don't know. I know. I just chose not to talk about it. I told you, anybody who touches her buy. I have said it and I am saying it again. If you touch her, we cannot reverse your doom. So when I was talking about my Oloris not touching the jewel, you thought that I was referring to them alone? No, I wasn't. To each and every one of you seated here, you touch her, you buy. You touch her, judgment will come upon you immediately. It was then that the great lion said, yes, he has gone back to bind Ogunjaye. And mentioned some certain things that Ogunjaye is doing, even though he's being binded. That he made it that way because he is aware of how these people will continue to, harass this woman spiritually for nothing. That Olamipos is on his own. That he is on his own. And all those people who came together and tried to drag the jewel back with dark forces, they are all on their own, because from that yesterday, the great lion was saying judgment will be visited on them one after the other. Almost the second to scatter. Baba them, then they cry. Crying and begging the great lion that, they did this for a reason. Innocent children were crying and all of that. That they didn't do it to hurt her. They felt like even if she came back, the great lion was going to appreciate it, because that happens to be what the great lion had always wanted. The great lion said, not like that. I have made provision for her to come back. Everything is fine. But it's just that you want to eat your cake and still have it. And that will not happen under my watch. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged rumors, unverified information making the rounds on social media and shouldn't be seen as fact.